fireside chats discussion, we're going to be talking about consumer behavior in the post-COVID era. Joining us today is Vakul Agarwal, who is the Senior Director for Retention and Consumer Lifecycle Marketing at Grofers. Grofers is one of the leading e-grocery players in India, and Grofers is built around the idea that all Indians should be able to access high quality products at affordable prices and be given the opportunity to upgrade their lives. Vakul has been with Grofers for close to 6 years now, and in his current role, he's leading retention, product, and consumer lifecycle marketing and marketing analytics. Vakul, welcome on board. It's great to have you on the call with us.
Thank you, Madhi. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Starting off with today's topic, right, which is consumer behavior in the post-COVID era, we are well aware that the consumer of today takes well-informed decisions before signing up for a product. How well can you get them started, and how accurately can you predict their behavior while using your product should definitely be on top of your mind. Now, in today's session, we're going to be talking about the role of app engagement and different metrics as an important driver for growth, and also understand how you can solve hurdles all along the way. Vakul, how do you measure app engagement? Do you use any one metric, or do you have several metrics, and what are those?
So fortunately for us, we are in a category which has a very high frequency. And when you talk about groceries, and if you include fruits and vegetables and dairy also as one of the category, then the average frequency would be roughly around, say, 6 to 7 times a month for a particular household. And hence, the business is built on retention. Okay. So few things which are very important for our business that we track is what is the month-on-month retention for a user. And when I say retention, it is transaction on a platform. Okay. How many different categories or subcategories that user is buying from us in a month. We call it different or unique subcategories, right? So are people buying more or less? The third is the wallet share, which is nothing but average order value into frequency. So how much they are buying from us in a given month. So these three things become very important for us to track month-on-month basis, which tells us first whether we are providing a good enough service for people to retain with us. Second, are we having the right assortment and we are showcasing the right products so that people buy more and relevant items from us. And the last, are we able to capture more of their wallet share in this category? Right? So these are the top level metrics that are important for us that we track almost on a daily basis.
Got it. If I were to ask, why are these your top metrics, right? I mean, why have you chosen these?
That inherently defines whether you are growing or not. Right? Okay. One, whether you are capturing a larger wallet share of a household, right. That is one. The second is being relevant across the wide category that grocery has to play on.
Absolutely.
Because discovery of products could be a challenge in a category as vast as ours. And hence, if you look at whether a person was buying from 10 different categories last month, but this month he or she is buying from 11, then it's a positive. But if he or she is still stuck at 10, then you may say, I would want to stretch it a bit. Can I show a different category product which is very relevant to that user, given the history that we track? And retention, like I said, because the use case is so frequent, right? We would want a close to 100% retention on our platform. Unfortunately, that is not true, but retention becomes a very important metric for us.
Absolutely. Got it. Vakul, how do you get everyone in your organization to align on these metrics?
We have a detailed process on that. I think everyone do follow OKRs. So every quarter, the leadership team sits for a couple of days, wherein first they decide what is the priority for business. right? What is that one or two different things that we are chasing as an organization,
Mhm.
right? And once we all are aligned that okay, this is one or two things that we would chase, and it could not necessarily be in business terms, right? For example, one of the OKRs could be that we would want to get better at delivering the best user experience to users. How
Right.
do we measure it could be different. NPS is one thing, but we first collectively decide the broad objectives that are important for us to deliver in the next quarter. And then we break it down further in making not more than three OKRs for the entire organization,
Mhm.
having sub KRs, uh, wherein because the entire leadership is involved in this process,
Mhm.
and the idea is to debate it out during those 2 days. Right? But once we close that meeting after say a couple of days, then everyone is aligned. Right? So before that, there is enough freedom and enough time for people to come up with their own thoughts, own ideas on what we should prioritize as a company.
Got it.
That's the process that we follow. Right. And if, for example, retention being one of the core metric which defines the top line or the GMV for business, and
Mhm.
if top line for business is one of the objective for the next quarter, then obviously we debated out what metrics does make sense for us to track, and then we zero down on these.
Got it. And then you trickle it down in your organization. Understood. Understood. Vakal, one challenge which a lot of brands had, during the post-COVID era was more about communication strategy, right? I mean, it is just so much more important to convey the right kind of messaging and, reach out to your audience. Can you elaborate a bit on your communication strategy, during the last 6 to 9 months, maybe?
Sure. So I think we are exactly 1 year past the lockdown phase.
Right.
When lockdown was announced, our organic demand shot up. It
Mhm.
was fairly immediate. We could not respond to that huge demand that we got in March or April last year. Uh, First, the demand was so high that our app or website crashed, right? So it took some time to scale tech systems. The
Understand. Yeah.
second was there was a lot of confusion on the ground. Who is allowed to operate, who is not allowed to operate. And we being an essential service provider,
Right.
obviously we were allowed, but you need to, everyone needed to have a pass from the government officials.
Right.
And government was very supportive in helping us getting those passes as quickly as possible. But there was some confusion, right? And hence, users were also confused. We were not able to operate. They were confused whether if they've placed an order, we'll be able to deliver them or not. By when we'll be able to deliver them. Then
Mhm.
we'll start accepting new orders, etc. So that a month or so, which is April and May, in fact, some parts of June as well,
Right.
the anxieties were fairly high from a user perspective. So in that quarter, the idea was to over communicate, right? Over communicate when are you accepting orders? Over
Mhm.
communicate by when will you receive your order? If by any chance order is getting descheduled, again
Right.
do it couple of times, right? Just be on top of your game, wherein announce what cities you are operational in, what cities you are still trying to be operational soon. Right?
Mhm.
So during that part, it was just ensuring that are we doing the right thing by over communicating and curbing the anxieties that users have. Right?
Got it.
Post that, once the lockdown also eased and there were few relaxations, I
Mhm.
think the anxieties also came down with time. And then the idea, the change in the user behavior was that people were restricting the number of deliveries at their home. So, for example, if previously I used to order 4 times in a month,
Mhm.
now users were not willing to order 4 times because they wanted to restrict number of entries in their household.
Their homes,
So,
right?
yeah, so they would order in bulk,
Mm.
and hence the average order value went really high, but
Right.
frequency came
Yeah.
became low. So that was the shift, and hence the idea of first making sure that we have the right inventory stocked at our end. How do
Mhm.
we ensure that we have the last mile capacity that we can carry such heavy orders? So
Right.
those are the things that we worked on, and we also communicated upfront. Right?
Mhm.
Because in some cities, we were actually facing challenges of delivering these heavy orders in a bike. Right? So how do we split order? How do we communicate it well to users? How do we then say that we are operational? Don't worry, we are using all the safety measures possible. We are delivering your groceries in a sealed bag, and hence there'll be no issue in ordering again from us in the same month. Right? So those things became very important for us to tell the user that it's completely safe. Don't worry. We have regular checks in our warehouse, in our last mile as well. So
Correct.
that was the say between June till April. Right? Diwali onwards, I think things were fairly relaxed. People were again in that consumption moment. So we became more relevant in terms of the assortment that we would want to keep, which
Correct.
is relevant to different festivals, ensuring that we are using whatever data we have and predicting what users would want now. At what time would they want a reorder reminder? And so these things then, which is business as usual, started post Diwali or just before Diwali for
Mhm.
us. And right now, I think we are much better placed in terms of where the business is because people have the COVID helped us in ensuring that people try online groceries
Yeah.
as a category, right?
Yeah.
And because it is much more convenient, it is much more better in terms of the price that you get sitting at the comfort of your home, and there is a lot more assortment than you will find in a supermarket, right? So people
Right.
have stuck with the online grocery players. Retention is much better than what we used to see.
Mhm.
So now it's business as usual for us. But those were the interesting times, right? The lockdown phases, wherein we had to innovate on fly.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it was a similar trend for everybody, right? Mentioning upfront in terms of the kind of operations they can perform, and also say assuring customers that, hey, we've taken enough precautions because that's what all of us want to hear at the end of the day.
Yes. So one is first. The first step was to ensure that on ground you are taking the right precautions because that is much more important than just communicating those precautions.
Absolutely.
Right? Once
Absolutely.
you're very sure that we are doing the right thing on the ground, then the job to be done was to tell whatever we are doing on the ground that we have taken all necessary steps, and
Right.
these are the 5 checks that we do on a regular basis,
Correct.
so that they feel confident while ordering from us during that time.
No, agreed, absolutely. Vakul, also want to understand from you when we talk about improving app engagement, right? What's your biggest challenge? I mean, is it the people, is it the process, or is it the structure, user behavior? What comes to your mind? And could you elaborate on this?
So see, the biggest challenge is right now we have more data at our end, but we are not able to furnish that data to the capacity that we would want to.
Right.
Uh, so we are challenged, or say, there are not so many resources available wherein we would want to be in the ideal state wherein I'm personalizing for each and every user and for each and every use case.
Right.
And when I say personalizing for each and every use case, it's not a zero and one.
Mm.
We are doing some use cases already which are automated, but we are not there yet. Wherein I can say it's 100% automated, right? So that's the challenge, both on the tech side, and also the challenge is on the bandwidth that the team would have in manually executing some of the use cases.
Mhm.
So that is one. The second is how do you ensure that your on app experience matches with whatever you're doing off app?
Mhm.
So one is the merchandising on the app. The other part is the user journey of the app. How do we ensure that both of them are truly integrated and again are personalized for a particular user? Segment personalization is more or less done in our case.
Right.
but how do we make sure that it is then personalized to a user, to the tea? So those are the challenges right now. We are obviously it remains one of our focus areas because we would want to be as close to the user as possible. Uh, but yeah, that is for me a challenge that we would love to solve, and it will not be 100% at a given point in time. We need to progress at that particular goal. And probably we are at 30% right now. We would love to be at a 50, probably say 3 months down the line, and probably at a 70% automation or personalization by the end of the year. So that's the journey that we would want to move. The direction is fairly clear. Now, how fast we can move and how best we can execute is something
Correct.
that that we'll only define.
Understood. Understood. Yep. Yep. That's quite clear. Makul, we'll just take a question from one of our audience. Ritesh has asked this question. Since retention is measured by transaction in your case, what is the time frame or frequency in which users should have a transaction, or we consider that the customer as churned? How do we come up with a time frame by frequency for user base?
So there are various ways. One is first you see what is the average wallet share for a user or for a household in our category,
Mhm.
right? And in which segment. For example, if I just give you an example, say NCCS A1 household, hello,
Hey, Bakul, I think we can hear you back.
can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, yes, we can hear you now. Yes.
Yeah. There was a power cut at my end. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was saying one of the way that you can go about that is firstly seeing what is the wallet share of a household in a particular city in this category.
Right.
Normally, that wallet share for NCCS A1, a household which has an income of more than 10 lakh in a metro, will be roughly around 8 to 9,000. I'm talking about a household of three.
Mhm.
Then you see that, okay, what are the categories that I am present in, right? How much assortment do I have? And basis that, you would say that I would want to be the primary grocery shop for that particular household, right?
Mhm.
Which would translate in at least having a 50 to 60% wallet share from that household, right? Now, what is the use case that you're serving? Grocery has two major use cases. One is a stock up use case, wherein people stock up during the early part of the month when they get their salaries.
Right.
That's the typical behavior. The second use case is a top up behavior. Say you are running out of your favorite Maggi or ketchup, you go to your nearby Kirana and you just buy Maggi or ketchup. Right? So that's the second use case.
Right.
So the idea is, are you relevant for both use cases, or you are only solving for a particular use case? In our business at Grofers, we are majorly solving the stock up behavior, right? And few cities, we also try to solve the top up behavior. So keeping that in mind, you say that okay, in a stock up behavior, the average order value that a user has is roughly around 1,800 or 2,000.
Right.
Then a frequency of 2.5 is something that I would love to have, right? And see, and so that I get a wallet share of around 5,000 to 6,000 in a month, right? So which essentially translates that a user should transact 2.5 times in a month. So
Got it.
that is how you can calculate. And there'll be cities which you are doing better in, so you would want more and more wallet share from these users. You will keep on enabling different use cases, but that is one way that we try to measure retention and hence wallet share also.
Understood. All right. Bakul, we have another question from Anisha. What's the average age of your user and how's your penetration in tier 2 cities?
So tier two penetration is less than 4% of the overall grocery market. Uh, uh, that is the level of penetration. So that, see, grocery by far is the biggest market in India, and it's highly unorganized. In tier two, uh, there is hardly a presence of modern trade, and most of the market is captured by Kirana stores majorly. Right, penetration is fairly less for the entire online category as such. In terms of age, right? See, I don't really get the exact question when you say what's the average user, because for us, we would want the user to be with us for, I think, ratio that we see. Right. So for our business, we are in the first month itself, right? Our cost on acquiring a user versus the revenue that we get from a user is break even in month 0 itself, right? So anything that we get, so payback period is you got are you able, yeah, so the payback period for us is 0, right?
Understood. We'll just take one more question before we jump in to our discussion. We have Nupur who's asking us how much retention happens through offers versus other alternatives. Can you please elaborate on other alternatives for retention?
The best alternative is to be very relevant to that user with the right product, and also your timing, right? When do you reach out with that product towards a particular user? So
Right.
that is one. The second is leveraging the consumption moments better. For example, if Diwali is around the corner, then how do you ensure that your assortment is very relevant and your proposition is fairly relevant to the consumption moment? Right now, for example, Holi is around the corners, right? Then do you have the right assortment? Then you are talking about that particular consumption moment, right? So that usually helps a lot. Being relevant to the times that you are living. Probably you would want to talk about Gujia right now or Kishmish, right? Because people would be interested, or probably whole organic colors. Right? So those are things that we keep in mind. Keeping the consumption moment, which is around the corner, the assortment that we should have. For example, summers will come. Right? We promote the right assortment. Again, it helps a lot in retention. And the first one is very important, which is the product at the right time.
Understood. Understood. Thank you. Thanks for that, Vakul. We'll have one last question in terms of from your experience, right? Do you have any key pointers you would like our audience to take away from, or any insights you'd like to share?
Yes, one is that focus on sub-segmenting your users, right? Uh, One could be pure data-based segmentation, wherein you see past data and you say, okay, these are my frequent users, loyal users, not so frequent users, new to platform users.
Right.
The other is more getting to know your user better, right? In terms of what kind of smartphones they are using, online payments, do they prefer, right? What kind of right? What kind of network they are on, whether they use postpaid or prepaid. So create personas of different users that you see are transacting on your platform, and then put that view on your say frequent, not frequent, loyal or not loyal users. Right. So that is one thing that has worked well for us in first making sure that the user needs are very relevant, and the merchandising on the app or the flow on the app is also very tuned to the type of user we are talking to. I would say focus on that and then move towards one-to-one personalization.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you so much, Vakul. I think it was a great session discussing this with you.